DCTV 274 production, a channel meant to spread evangelical mission, reflections, church news, interviews on church matters, socio-political issues, and other marriage matters, both young and nice content, all kinds of invitation cards, even movies. DCTV 274 production.
Hi, this is my channel. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. DCTV, the channel for everyone.
These pseudo names, Tif Tunubu, and all these names for all these people. It was so very interesting. I also admire your intelligence, the way you analyze issue. I'm a Pan-Africanist, so I really love when I see brilliant Africans making analysis on things that affect their country. So that's why I've been following you. I try calling in, and it's very difficult to get in. So tonight, when you have this StreamYard link, I'm like, okay, this is my opportunity. And I'm so lucky to be the last person to speak as well.
Thank you so much.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Yeah. So I may not be a Nigerian, but I'm not a stranger to Nigeria. Let me first of all give a background of who I am so people understand what I'm going to say and why I'm saying it. I immigrated to Nigeria in the year 2000. I was 15 years old. Obasanjo just took over in 1999, a year after I arrived. I did my primary school in Nigeria, secondary school, wrote my WAEC in Nigeria. I went to New Horizons College in Niger State, Minna. I live in the Middle Belt. I've been to Kwara State many times. I speak Hausa very well. So I'm a half Nigerian, I will say, because I live in that country for more than 10 years. And I spend most part of my life there, and I have friends, family up till now in Nigeria. So if you wrote common entrance and you wrote WAEC, you should know Nigerian history, you should know the politics. And me being a Pan-Africanist, I have followed through most of the political activities in Nigeria. So that's what gave me, just to give you a background of who I am, so that I will be able to make analysis on the ongoing issues in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. Please.
Yeah. So I tried learning Yoruba, but I did not. I speak Hausa perfectly, because when you live in the north, Hausa is the common language there. So next to it, because I live in the Middle Belt, close to Kwara State, so you have Yoruba language, but the Kwara people, sometimes some of them speak Hausa as well. So my Yoruba is not good. So what I want to speak here tonight, Mayegun, the issue of Nigeria. I'm from Liberia, by the way. The name of my country is Liberia. And if you know Liberia, Nigeria helped us in the 90s when we had civil war in our country. Liberia was falling apart. We fought civil war, from 1999 down to 2003, and Nigerian forces helped quench the civil war in Liberia. So Nigeria was the hope of the continent, the giant of Africa, the country we all look up to and say, one day in the future, this is going to be our China. This is going to be our United States. If Nigeria succeeds, Africa succeeds. Every African, especially if you live in West Africa area, I'm not talking about regular people, but people who really analyze issue, you will know that Nigeria was the hope of the continent. But unfortunately, in the last 10 years, we've seen Nigeria going down the drain. We've seen Nigeria promising future now becoming dashed, and we've seen that it seems that there's no hope. So when people are making a lot of analysis, I come in and tell them that this is my own understanding. The problem in Nigeria is a summary of what is happening in all of African countries, which is number one, the way we got independence, the institutions that we inherited were not decolonized. It's like the colonial masters made a deal with people we call freedom fighters, and they replaced them. They just replaced the white Oyibo with our black brother who continue the colonial legacy. And I will give you an example. Your police is a typical colonial police. During the colonial era, the police was meant to protect the colonial elite. The police was there to beat up the people, subdue them, and terrorize them to protect the colonial masters. That's what the African police do now. That's what the Nigerian police does. The elite of the colonial era, they were bourgeoisie who lived in Africa, but then their real home is London. Their hospital is Paris. When the colonial masters get sick, they take them to Lisbon, they take them to Paris, they take them abroad to go to get treated in the what they call the metropole. And the Africa was the farm, was the place they work, was where is where you extract the natural resources. The London is where you go to enjoy it. Our elite are following the same pattern. The educational institutions were designed to make the colonial masters to look like saviors and tell the people who have been exploited to appear as if they are being indebted. They have to be grateful to the colonial masters for giving them education. Why that education was actually a miseducation. If you watch our education today, it followed the same pattern. The religion was created to pacify the public in order for them not to stage a revolution. The colonialists were in bed with the religious masters. They tell the people to calm down. In fact, our traditional rulers, some of them were compromised. Those of them who refused to compromise were removed from their throne. If you compromise with the colonial system, then you remain on your throne. Today is the same thing. Our traditional leaders have to compromise with the men in Abuja. The unknown forces in Abuja, in the capital, they have to connive with them to destroy your destiny. Now, all I'm saying here is that the colonial system continues, but it has just changed face. It just have a black face on it. So I say this to tell you, when people say, let's divide Nigeria, let's break up the country, let's have a Yoruba nation, let's have a Igbo nation. As a Pan-Africanist, I'm sad, because our philosophy was to create a black United States of Africa. So when we see now that a country like Nigeria cannot survive, that means that our theory has been debunked. But here is what we tell people. It doesn't matter if you divide Nigeria today into 7 countries. The same elite who are in bed with London, who are in bed with these forces in Europe, they will be the same elite who will take over this country. Example, South Sudan and Sudan. Did South Sudan become better after they broke out from Sudan? I don't think so. Many countries are breaking up in Africa after independence, but it was the same elite who were transported to those new countries. The main people who wanted actual freedom were killed, were removed. Those who wanted real transformation were replaced with the bourgeoisie. Then the second thing I want to say, the forces, the internal forces that are working in African countries are against the people. If you look at Nigeria very well today, you can determine the future of Nigeria by looking at the forces that are controlling Nigeria. What are these internal forces? One, the religious group. I grew up in northern Nigeria. I went to school there. I was born a Muslim. I studied the Quran. If you have been to Niger State, Mina, if you know the institution called RET, Islamic Education Trust in Mina, controlled by Sheikh Ahmed Lemu. Those are the people that brought me up. They gave me scholarship. I went to that school in New Horizons College. I graduated there. I learned the Quran. I was a Muslim until I started traveling, and I decided to put religion aside. What I saw in northern Nigeria is that these people were colonized twice. They were first colonized by the Sokoto Caliphate through the Islamic Revolution. They were still under that colonialism, then the British colonialism came. So they are not in alignment with you in the South. You don't understand. They are operating under 2 influences of colonial culture that they have inherited. One, they inherited an extreme version of Islam called Wahhabism, which even Saudi Arabia is trying to abolish and embrace modernity. This northern Nigeria inherited an archaic, outdated Islamic view that came from Baghdad and Saudi Arabia those days. They inherited it. And it is very much entrenched in their culture. They do not believe in Nigeria as long as they are not on top. As long as Islam, though, for them, the vision for Nigeria is for Islam to triumph. That's the understanding for them. The destiny of Nigeria must lean toward Islamic revolution. That is the elite, the agenda. I'm not talking about the ordinary people on the street. They don't know what's going on. But the elite, that was the thinking of Usman Dan Fodio. That was the thinking of Sir Ahmadu Bello. That was the thinking of all these elite that came up. They designed, when they took over the army, you don't understand why they influenced the army in Nigeria. Their vision is to lead what Islamic revolution. Now, for you guys in the South, you had only one colonialism, which is the European. That's why there are people, Chris, John, Johnson. When you are tired of European colonialism, you fall back to your culture. They don't have no culture to fall back to. They only have Islamic extremism to fall back to when they are angry. That's why every riot in the North take an Islamic tune. Any fight, any fighting has to take an Islamic tune. They do not have any ideology or philosophy to fight with other than Islam. And this make you guys to live in two different planets, but yet you are trying to build a country. For me, even as a Pan-Africanist who want Africa to be together, I can tell you that northern, southern Nigeria cannot survive. I'm sorry to tell everyone, it will not survive.
I'm going to ask Sekou, just for you to take a breath. You are indeed surprised a lot of us tonight. When I say surprised, not because of the detailed in-depth of your own understanding of Nigeria, but the fact that we weren't expecting this long sort of, reorientation kind of. A lot of people were glued that it is actually coming from someone who is not a Nigerian. You sort of mesmerized us. And because of this, I think I chose right to end the program with you tonight, okay? So you seem to know even better. And using your own perspective now, understanding of the both world and being an Pan-Africanist and all that, one of the things you said tonight that sort of got me a little bit emotional is to listen to a fellow African brother to express how disappointed. I actually saw your face dropped, right? When you said you are, as an African, as a Pan-Africanist, and somebody who has been to Nigeria, and situation of Nigeria today breaks your heart to see that Nigeria is tilting towards a total balkanization. That is something to an average Nigerian, which, as you know yourself, we don't give a damn anymore. It's like we have seen enough. It's like we are done. However, to somebody like yourself, looking from both within and from without, okay, and you can see, do you see a chance of this north-south to continue to coexist under this current arrangement? Whatever any solution anybody brings about, right? Do you even see that from your own experience? Because now you can tell, you have actually analyzed this fault lines between the north and the south, and we sort of saw them as blood lines for decades until the last 10 years, like you rightly sort of acknowledged. Last time, 10 years saw Nigeria and Nigerians taken to where a lot of us never envisaged, including the fault lines, the red lines, the north, the south. So 2024 and beyond, with what you know and what you have told us so far, you see Nigeria exist for another 10 years as the north and the south still, with the way things are going. I want to hear that.
I see. I'm not a prophet, okay, but we can look at the data and be able to say this is what we think will happen. I think the fact here is that Nigeria is going to experience a very, very serious trouble. That's very obvious, worse than it is right now. The reason being is that I spoke of the internal forces in Nigeria, and I just mentioned one, which is the religion. Then there's the ethnic side, which I've not touched. Now, if you look at, let's deal with that first internal problem, which is the religion. Like I follow one politician in Nigeria, in particular, who I love before Obi came on the scene. That was Showore, when he said, "Take it back." When he said revolution now, people didn't understand. Nigeria needs a revolution. And when we say revolution, it's not just people moving on the street or what, a transformation of thinking and transformation of institution, complete transformation. Now, that transformation, even if you do it the way Showore wanted, you will have to do it twice. You will do one revolution for Nigeria, then you will do another revolution for the North. Anything you do to Nigeria, you have to do it twice in the North before it will succeed. You take your NSAS, for example. When all of you in the South were running around to change the police, did you see the North move?
No.
You think they care? They did not move. They didn't see the North. As soon as you start protesting in Lagos, the Eastern Nigerians start to feel it immediately. They start to protest. When something happened to Mohbad, you see people talking. Watch the social media. When you see people start talking in Western Nigeria, it moves straight to the east. It moves straight to the other part. The North doesn't budge. It does not move. You need 2 times that revolution to bring the North into the picture. And said they are using this population democracy where who vote, the religious extremists in the North will continue to use these uneducated, illiterate people to continue to vote the wrong people in power. For that, they have taken Nigeria hostage. And those of you who want real change for Nigeria, they will isolate you. They will isolate you. They will make sure that you become the enemy of the state. And if you don't take time, they will eliminate you one by one until this pact that they created, South-North, which is a fake pact that they created. You know, Buhari, then after that, Tinubu will rule, then another Yoruba. The truth is, the extremists in the North are looking for elements, religious, Islamic element in the Yoruba ethnic group to use them to destabilize that mighty people who have built empires like Oyo and other places long before anything. But they are looking for some weak elements. Like Tinubu is a weak element. People think he's powerful, but he's a weak element in the Yoruba war. These are the weak elements they want to use to be able to push the Islamic agenda. People have been telling you that Islamic agenda is a lie. No, it's true. I can tell you that I was born a Muslim. My people have been Muslim since the 7th century. I'm a Madinga. And we have been Muslim. There is nobody in my ethnic group who is Christian. All my people have been Muslim. And I studied Islam in northern Nigeria. And I'm telling you, the agenda is to push that country toward Islamic agenda or destroy it completely. So to your question, I will tell you that Nigeria does not have a bright future for now. It doesn't have a bright future for now. The elements that are in the North, and most of them are receiving grants. Some of them, even in university, they are getting grants from this Qatar, and all the extreme Islamic group are giving them money. And they are building, their power is increasing day by day in the political system. They are even creating billionaires that eventually tomorrow they want to control Western part of Nigeria. The East a little bit stubborn for them. Eastern Nigeria is stubborn. That's why they are isolating them. The isolation of so-called Igbo, it's not because Igbo hate Nigeria. Igbos are the most Nigerian than any Nigerian. They are every part of Nigeria you find them. They have their own problem for sure, like every African group. But the issue, they are not the problem. But they are acting a little bit stubborn to the Islamic agenda. So they have to be isolated. And to do that, you need one of the most powerful group, which is the Yoruba group. If you don't use Yoruba, you can't succeed. And the Yoruba group is very educated. So what do? You look for the weak one among them, which is the Islamized ones, and play on their religious sentiment. And then you destabilize the country. I can tell you, my friends, you need a revolution, but you need 2 revolutions. If every African country needs 1, Nigeria needs 2.
And we are all ears tonight, Sekou. Honestly speaking, it's such a such a pleasure to really have you with us tonight. And indeed, I always say something when I am lucky to come across brilliant minds and then so well endowed individuals like yourself. I said, well, I hope I am lucky again to have you on. But
I'll always be on the People Parliament. I'll be following now.
No, trust me. You know what? Something I've discovered there, or I am using this as an experiment as well, right? 2024 is going to have a proper sort of a well-organized studio than this. And people like yourself, we would love to keep you on a retainer where you can always chip in, where you can speak to a demography of different parts of the audience who needs to know things from other wider perspectives and now that. So I hope I am lucky again to still speak to you again. Thank you so much for tonight. You stay safe, right? And you have a good one, sir. Got some blessings there. I didn't see that coming, but I had something in me telling me that this one on my screen is special, starting with the name. You see, when I see other African brothers, right, they will present themselves as a Pan-Africanist. You see.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel.
This is TV 274 production, a channel meant to spread evangelical mission, reflections, church news, interviews on church matters, socio-political issues, and other marriage matters, both young and nice content, all kinds of invitation cards, even movies. DCTV 274 production.